Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the basics of what sine, cosine, and tangent are, and how they can be used to find angles of triangles, of specifically right triangles. So what are sine, cosine, tangent? Well, there's this handy acronym here, and it's called, I bet you've heard of it, SOHCAHTOA. What does this mean? Well, S obviously stands for sine, C for cosine, and T for tan. Okay. What did the AH, and what does the OA mean? That's the important part. O stands for opposite. There's not really much space for me to write here, so I'm just going to write op. And H stands for hypotenuse, so I'm just going to hip. A stands for adjacent, and H is still hip. O is op, A is adjacent. Okay, what does that mean, though? This doesn't really make much sense. What this means, so, is sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And then, thus, again, CA is cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And then you got, of course, TOA for tan equaling opposite over adjacent. And if you notice, some of you keen-eyed people might have noticed that sine over cosine equals tangent, because if you have opposite over hypotenuse divided by, or well, we can just simplify to multiplying by, or times hypotenuse over adjacent, because we flipped it. Simplify that, opposite over adjacent, aka tangent. So yeah, that's also very handy. But back to the practice problem at hand. Why do we need this? And this is a good example. So here we have a triangle labeled ABC, and we have the values of the lengths of these sides. And let's say I wanted to find the angle C. Now you could take a wild guess and say it's probably near 45 degrees, and you'd be right, because AC and AB are relatively similar, but they're not exactly the same, and therefore it is not exactly 45 degrees. And you can again probably guesstimate that it would be under 45, again because AB is smaller, but let's find the exact value. And how do we do that? Well, we can actually go about it a wide variety of ways, but let's do the simple way, and let's do sine. Sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So we have C, and we're trying to find sine C. Okay, what's the opposite of C? Well, you go look at the angle, and you just look at what's the opposite side. It's AB, which in this case is 20. So we have 20 over, we're looking for the hypotenuse. And this doesn't matter what angle you're looking for. The hypotenuse is always the hypotenuse. 29, always the longest side. So we know that sine C equals 20 over 29. But how does that help us? Well, there's just another handy-dandy function on the calculator called arcsine. And what arcsine does is once you have your little sine value, you plug that in and it spits out your angle. And make sure your calculator is in degrees or radians depending on the problem at hand. But I'm going on my calculator on my, it's not on my iPad so you can't see it, but I'm putting in arcsine 20/29 and it's spitting out, okay, that's in radians, so let's go to degrees, and it's spitting out 43.6 degrees. And hey, that sounds pretty spot on. There we go. We figured out C and what angle it is. Now let's figure out A. Well, we already know A, it's 90. And you can be boring and do 180 minus 90 minus 43.6 and get B, but we're not boring. We're going to do it the fun way. Let's do, what should we do? We can do really anything. Let's do tan. Tan is fun. Okay. What is tan of B? Well, tan is opposite over adjacent. So, what's the opposite of B? Well, 21. And the adjacent would be adjacent this angle, not the hypotenuse, so AB, so 20. Now that we have that, there's also arctan. There's arcsine, arccosine, and arctan. Let's put in arctan 21/20 in degrees. Oh, whoops, it's putting parentheses around the 21, so it's not what I want. And there we have it. It rounds up to about 46.4 degrees, which again is perfect for us. And now if we go ahead and add up 46.4 plus 43.6, which equals some quick maths, 90, yay. Add another 90 for A, which equals 180, the total degrees of a triangle. And there you have it. There's some basic problems with sine, cosine, tan. They get a little bit more complicated as you go on, but these are the fundamentals that you will need going forward. I hope you enjoy it and come back for more IB math videos.